Alright, welcome back to the channel. Today is Thursday, February 13th, and we have got more college basketball best bets for you here on the channel. And the theme of today's video is small school college basketball. I think there is great value today. I don't say this often, but I really like the slate today. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like, the picks that we give out and the best bets that we give out daily on the channel. I really like the spots we get today. I don't know, the 5 games I found, they're all mid-major games, but I really like them. Now, there aren't many huge games today in the world of college basketball. I mean, by far the biggest game is that game, obviously, in the West Coast Conference between San Francisco and Gonzaga over in Spokane, but there aren't really that many big games today. I mean, Memphis is going to Orlando to take on USF, but there really aren't many big games today, which is fine, because I love the mid-major action we get today here on the channel. Yes, yesterday was a bad day, a 2-3 day, but it is what it is. We're going to bounce back today, and I really like the spots that we have. So folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. Also, make sure you go check out our NBA predictions on the channel as well. Today is the final day before the NBA All-Star break, and we've got five games today, in the National Basketball Association, so make sure to check that one out after this video in a couple hours. And also, make sure to go check out our UFC predictions for this week. Jared Cannonier and Gregory Rodriguez in the UFC, in the Apex this Saturday night. And also yesterday we did post a vlog. I haven't done a vlog in years, but I did vlog going to Luka Doncic's Los Angeles Lakers debut. We had a suite for the game and everything. That vlog is linked in the description down below. All right, let's get on to the first of our 5 best bets for today. Again, love the action today, and we're going to start off with an early spot out of the WAC. We get the Cal Baptist Lancers going on the road to Arlington, Texas to take on the UT Arlington Mavericks. Okay, out of the 5 games we have, full transparency, confidence level, this is number 5, okay? This is the least confident one I have today. Don't get me wrong, I like every single game we picked today, but this is probably last on the list of, the games I feel best about. Still, we like UT Arlington in this spot. They are at home against Cal Baptist. Baptist, obviously, with quite a big, road trip, obviously, going on the road here to Arlington from, Southern California all the way to Texas. And Cal Baptist has been winning games recently. They've won 3 out their last 4. A win on the road against Southern Utah, a win over Abilene Christian, a loss at home to Southern Utah, and then a victory, a big one in their last one, over Grand Canyon, who has been kind of disappointing this season, obviously, because Utah Valley's been the best team in the conference. Regardless, the WAC's kind of odd at times, I guess. But Cal Baptist is a 5-4 team in the conference this season, 12-11 as a whole this year as well. This team is led by Dominique Daniels, who averages 20 points a game for the Lancers. Kendall Coleman averages 11, and AJ Braun with 10 points tonight as well. But we like UT Arlington here. Again, Cal Baptist a 5-4 team in the WAC this year. UT Arlington a 4-6 team. This team plays much better at home than they do on the road. If we break down their entire WAC record this season, their only home loss is against Utah Valley, who's the best team in the conference. They are 9-1. Other than that, they have been perfect at home this season in WAC play. We look at their victories against Seattle University, their win against Southern Utah, and their win against Utah Tech as well. I get it. Those are the 3 worst teams in the conference. And yes, Cal Baptist is better than those squads, but I don't think the margin is that far between UT Arlington and Cal Baptist. Again, we look at the WAC standings, right? It's Utah Valley, Grand Canyon, Gap. Well, UT Valley, Gap, Grand Canyon, Gap. Cal Baptist, Seattle University, Gap. Tarleton State, UT Arlington, Gap. Abilene Christian, Utah Tech, Southern Utah is probably that final tier. But I don't think UT Arlington's that off of Cal Baptist. They have not played so far this season. The Mavericks are at home for this game. This team is led by Lance Ware. He does everything for the Mavericks. Ware averages 14 points a night and 9 rebounds a game as well. Ware is by far the best guy on this UT Arlington team. And I get it, the Mavericks are coming off a loss to Seattle University in their last game, but that's a 2-point loss on the road against a good Seattle U team that beat University of Washington this season, right? The game before that, loss on the road to Utah Valley. Don't care. That's the best team in the conference. Prior to that, again, 4 straight wins. A win at home against Seattle University, Abilene Christian, Southern Utah, Utah Tech. Those are good wins. Again, regardless of who they are in the conference, by far, again, the Seattle U game is much more impressive than the other ones, but those are good games played for the UT Arlington Mavericks. And we talk about their only home loss in the WAC this season. That's Utah Valley, the team that is 9-1 in the conference, and they lost to them by 2 points in overtime. That's, again, it is what it is. You lose that basketball game, but UT Arlington is a much better team at home. Now, when they go to Riverside, to that cesspool that known as Riverside, California, not specifically the cesspool, which is UC Riverside. But regardless, when they go to Cal Baptist and play them March 8th, yeah, I think Cal Baptist probably wins. But with the way that the Mavericks play at home, I do think they get this one. And again, if we're betting on UT Arlington, we are expecting Lance Ware to have a night. Again, the guy averages 14.5 and 9 a game. You get Jaden Wells, who averages 13. Rayshawn Seamster, who averages 10 points a night too. But again, Lance Ware is by far the top guy for this UT Arlington team. He's going to do everything. He's their best defender, and he's their best scorer inside as well. He should be able to drive and attack the rim in this game, and we are taking the UT Arlington Mavericks to win this game at home against Cal Baptist. It's a great spot to get some plus money here early in the day. It's the earliest game today as well, 2 o'clock on ESPN+. We like UT Arlington. They are plus 100 dogs, plus 1.5 on the spread. We like the Mavericks to win at home here against the Cal Baptist Lancers. Let's go to our second game of the day, and we go to the CAA. It's the first of 2 CAA games today, and we've been all over the CAA recently. I find this conference really fascinating. I mean, for one, it's hard to go on the road and win in the CAA. Now, I am going to kind of go against that logic in a little bit. Not this game, obviously, but it's hard to go on the road and win in the CAA. Except if you're one of the better teams in the conference. And we'll talk about the elite of the CAA later because the next game will apply to that more. William & Mary, I think personally, has fallen out of that elite tier in the CAA with 3 straight losses. But I think it's a get-right spot here. Or no, sorry, Hofstra's lost 3 in a row. William & Mary's lost 2 in a row. Losses on the road to Drexel and to Delaware. Again, though, William & Mary 10 times the team at home than they are on the road, okay? This line is disrespectful to the Tribe, and I think, again, partially it's because Vegas, whoever made this line, hasn't been watching the CAA closely enough this season and knowing that, all right, William & Mary is a much better team at home than they are on the road. On the road, they're god-awful. I'm not going to lie. Again, a road loss to the Campbell Fighting Camels by 41 a couple games ago. They go to UNC Wilmington, lose by 11. They go to Drexel, lose by 20. They go to Delaware, lose by 10. I'm not concerned, honestly, about William & Mary losing back-to-back games. Now, again, do I think the Tribe win the CAA this season? No. I think it's going to be extremely tough to unseat either Townsend or UC Wilmington as the champions of the CAA. I know, again, UC Wilmington is 10-2 right now, and Townsend's 11-1. I still personally think once we get to the CAA tournament, which I am actually kind of excited for, I think the Seahawks likely win it. But again, we'll see. It's going to be a neutral site tourney. I believe the CAA is a neutral site tourney. I could be wrong. Regardless, we'll get to the CAA tournament later in the season. I'm kind of hyped for that because there's a lot of fun teams in this conference. Townsend, UC Wilmington, Charleston, Campbell, William & Mary. Those teams are fun, right? You get William & Mary hosting Hofstra. I don't know why the odds are where they're at. I don't understand. I get it, the CAA is odd sometimes. I have no clue why it's like this. Hofstra's not good. They are 4-8. They have lost 4 out of their last 5. Losses to Campbell at home. They go to Elon and win. Loss at home to Northeastern. Loss at home to Stony Brook. Oh, sorry. And they lose to Campbell again on the road. But, like, I don't understand. If this team's losing to Stony Brook and Northeastern at home, how the hell are they going to go to William & Mary and win? William & Mary, an 8-4 team in the conference. Hofstra, a 4-8 team in the conference. What? The Tribe are at home, and I get it. William & Mary has actually been really inconsistent this season, but they're at home. They're at Williamsburg, Virginia here. I just don't understand it. For William & Mary, they're led by Gabe Dorsey. I mean, it's going to be a collective group effort, you can say, out of the scoring abilities, out of this William & Mary team. We're looking at guys, again, like Dorsey, who does average 13 a night. Noah Collier averages 12. Kyle Pulliam averages 10. Chase Lau averages 8.5. They're just the better team, though. I mean, Hofstra, again, a 4-8 squad led by Gene Oregon, I think that's how you pronounce that, averages 15. Cruz Davis averages 14.5 as well. But once you get past those guys, man, and Michael Graham is not a bad big for them. He's actually pretty solid for the Pride. But beyond that, I'm not too impressed with Hofstra. Again, it's not like they're hot going into this game. They've won 1 out their last 5. Again, a road victory at Elon, I'll give you that. That's not bad, but what, you're losing at home to Stony Brook, who is arguably on paper and record-wise definitely worse than Hofstra. They lost that game by 5 points on Saturday. Why are they now not that big of dogs to go on the road and play William & Mary? I mean, Hofstra was a 12.5 point favorite over the 6-19 Stony Brook Seawolves, and they lost outright. Again, Stony Brook wins that game as plus 800 underdogs. They go to Hofstra and win. Do we think Hofstra is really bouncing back like that? But if you want to apply the same logic, well, hell, William & Mary is due to bounce back here. They really are. Again, guys, the comparison in losses aren't even close. William & Mary at one point in time was a 7-1 team in the CAA. We actually thought, I'm willing to say this, I picked them to go to Campbell and win. I thought they were going to be able to. They were the best team to me at the time in the CAA. Townsend probably not better than Townsend, but still, they looked like the second best team in the CAA. I thought they were going to be able to go on the road and beat Campbell. They lose the game by 41 points. Okay, but prior to that, they were a 7-1 team in the conference. They beat Charleston at home, who was not horrible. Obviously, Charleston in that elite tier in the CAA, and then back-to-back losses to Drexel on the road and Delaware on the road. I get it. Drexel and Delaware are definitely not on the level that William & Mary is, but those are road losses, and we always talk about it. It is so hard to go on the road in the CAA. Only the elite of the elite can go on the road and win the CAA. And the elite of the elite are only 3 teams, and we will mention one of the 3 teams in a couple minutes here because that's going to be the pick in a second. But I like William & Mary a lot here. They're not even going on the road to play Hofstra. So again, tell me why the 12-13 and 4-8 in conference Hofstra Pride are favorites to beat the 14-11 and 8-4 in conference William & Mary Tribe. William & Mary is the better basketball team. They are able to score more effectively. And what happened the first time these two teams played? William & Mary went to Hofstra. I get it was their first game of CAA play all year long. They go to Hofstra and beat them 74-56. And what has happened since? I get it, William & Mary's lost 2 in a row. Hofstra's lost 3 in a row, though. But William & Mary's been the better team all season long. So what changes from that initial matchup where William & Mary goes on the road to Hofstra and wins? Nothing. William & Mary wins this basketball game. I told you guys I really like this slate. Again, I don't even think, normally I'd say, oh, I hope we don't fall into the trap. There's no trap. What is the trap? Hofstra goes on the road and beats them? Hell no. Give me William & Mary. They're a much better team at home. They've only lost, I don't think they've ever lost this year at home in the CAA. They haven't. Their losses are on the road. UNC Wilmington, Campbell, Drexel, Delaware. They've not lost in Williamsburg all season long. Give me the William & Mary Tribe to win the game at home and cover the 1.5 against the Hofstra Pride. Next up, we go to another game in the CAA. I told you we're going to talk about 2 of them. I mentioned again, there are only a couple teams that I feel confident about consistently going on the road and winning in the CAA. Right now, those 3 teams are Townsend, UNC Wilmington, and the Campbell Camels. Campbell, I know, again, their last loss came against Charleston a while ago. Since that Charleston loss, this team has not lost a basketball game. The Fighting Camels have beat Monmouth, they beat Stony Brook on the road, they beat Hofstra, they beat William & Mary, they beat Hofstra again, they beat Elon in their rematch, and they beat and North Carolina A&T in their last game. It wasn't the most impressive victory. It wasn't. They beat the 0-12 in conference North Carolina A&T squad, but they still win the game. And ultimately, we don't really bet large spreads like that, so we didn't really care. A win is a win for Campbell. Great. Again, I keep telling you guys, I'm excited for the CAA tournament. Again, you get a team like Campbell, who's on fire right now. They've won their last 7 basketball games. You get UNC Wilmington, who's been great, who's a very hard team to play. And then Townsend's been the best team all season long, right? This is a fun conference. Now, Campbell is a 3.5-point dog on the road here in Boston against Northeastern. I don't entirely get it. Northeastern's coming off a loss to Hampton, the Hampton Pirates in their last game by 9. Prior to that, they go to Hofstra and win. They lose to Elon on the road. They went to Hampton and won. Townsend came into town and beat them. They beat Drexel at home, but it's a very shaky team. They're not all that great. I mean, Northeastern, they lost a game earlier in the season at home against Hofstra, 55-37. That's something. But I don't get it here. I don't. I mean, I think this game should be more like even. I get it. It's extremely tough to go on the road in the CAA and win. It is. It simply is. But it's not like this is some juggernaut here in Northeastern, right? Rashad King is their leading scorer. This guy can ball, right? I mean, the last 2 games for him, he dropped 28 points against Hofstra. He drops 32 against Hampton. Again, their junior guard out of Evans, Georgia, averages 18 points a game. King can play. King is a very good player. They've been without Masai Troutman for a while. He's their other guard who averages 13.5 points. Again, that's kind of been what we've seen recently. Again, the expansion in a role for Rashad King. It's been the absence of Masai Troutman. Troutman's been out since mid-January. His last game he played was the Charleston game. He's been out ever since. So you take away Troutman, you put a lot bigger of a role on Rashad King. Harold Woods isn't horrible. La Pratt, I believe that's how you say his name, or is he go by L.A. Pratt? Regardless, Pratt averages 11 points a night. William Kimmery averages 10 as well. It's a Northeastern team, though, that plays extremely small. They do. They play extremely small. They'll play, for the most part, for most of their rotations, they will run 4 guards and 1 center. They will. They'll sometimes play a 4. That's Yuri Fritz, he's kind of he plays more like a 4 than a 3, but this guy doesn't really play that often. I think he's out of the rotation now. So right now, what Northeastern's been doing, they've just been playing 5 guards in their lineup. They've been going King, Woods, Pratt, Frankel, and their center Colin Metcalf. That's kind of what they've been doing. I don't know. I think Campbell is just the better team. Colby Duggan is the best guy on Campbell, and we'll see again what Campbell does to match up with this Northeastern team, because I'd assume again, because Colby Duggan, again, like most college teams, Campbell plays small, so Colby Duggan will likely play the 5 at a lot of points during the game. Regardless, sometimes they do have Eric Van der Huygen from Raleigh, North Carolina, their senior. Sometimes he plays the 5 as well. He doesn't score at all, but he's just a big down low. So they'll probably play der Huygen more this game, I assume, because then you would force Northeastern to have a guard Colby Duggan, who by far is the best guy here on Campbell. He's a guy who averages 15 points a night, and we talk about, again, Northeastern adapting without their second leading scorer, and Masai Troutman, obviously with Rashad King, seeing an expanded role. Well, the same thing can be said about Campbell. Again, Campbell's second leading scorer in Jason Ciani is out for the season. He, I believe, either broke his leg or tore his ACL. He had a pretty nasty, he goes for a dunk in the Elon game, comes down and completely snaps his leg. It sucks. Ciani out for the season. He was a senior. Maybe he'll get a medical year. Probably will, actually, the way the NCAA works. But he'll probably be out for all of next season. I don't know. Regardless, he's probably just going to move on with life, because it's not like we're seeing an 8th year senior playing in college basketball all that often like we do, I don't know, for the Miami Hurricanes. Regardless, in football, obviously. So they're out Sinani for the rest of the season, but Colby Duggan's been good, and that just asks for an expanded role at their other 2 guards, and Nolan Dorsey and Cam Gregory. I mean, all these guys have always been playing 30-plus minutes the entire year, but again, it just asks for more out of those guys with Sinani being out for the season. But again, matchup-wise, when we look at this, I don't know how Northeastern's going to tackle Colby Duggan, especially, again, if der Huygen is playing an expanded role in this game, which I think, again, Campbell, looking at this one, would probably adapt to the matchup, and that's how they'd likely, go in this one. I like Campbell here. Now, again, if you want the conservative play, just take plus 3.5 for the Fighting Camels, who have been absolutely hot, but I don't mind the money line as well. Plus 145 is great value for this team that hasn't lost a game since January 16th. Colby Duggan's been playing out of his mind. Northeastern, they're good. I'll give you that. They can score. They don't play the best defense. I mean, again, the reason for their success recently has to be all credited to Rashad King. Campbell, again, you can put a lot of credit on Colby Duggan's name, but they get some other contributors, obviously, with Nolan Dorsey, Cam Gregory, and der Huygen as well when he plays. Northeastern, again, if you're looking at the squad, it's all Rashad King. So again, I think that's why I feel better about picking Campbell. I feel like they're a much more balanced team as comparison to Northeastern, where I feel like they're just one guy. I get it why Northeastern is a slight favorite because they're at home, but I don't mind the spread, nor do I mind the money line here for the Campbell Fighting Camels on the road here in Boston against the Northeastern Huskies. We go to our 4th game of the video, and we move to a spot here with a team that is actually banned on the channel. Now, I've kind of gotten rid of the ban list. Now, we haven't actually picked a team that's been on the ban list, but we did have a ban list very early on in the college basketball season. If you remember it, you remember it. But one of the teams that was on the ban list was the Jacksonville State Gamecocks, and it was because of their loss in Colorado Springs against the Air Force Falcons. I'm officially taking them off the ban list because Jacksonville State's a 9-2 team in the CUSA this season. Sam Houston is a 1-10 team in the CUSA. The CUSA is like the CAA to the regard where it's super tough to go on the road and win in the CUSA. It just is. And I know nobody expects Jacksonville State to win the CUSA because I think we all still kind of think Liberty's going to win it, even though, yes, Jacksonville State did just beat Liberty a couple games ago. I think once we get to the actual CUSA tournament, Liberty's been there so many times, and Liberty's been able to win in postseason basketball, not just getting to the NCAA tournament, but obviously winning big games in their conference tournaments, regardless of if it's been the Atlantic Sun or the CUSA now. I think Jacksonville State's still really good, though, obviously, right? They're led by Jeron Pierre. Jeron Pierre has turned around his season. And I know what you're thinking. Well, he's always scored big points. No, Jeron Pierre has been playing much better. Like, last time we fully talked about Jacksonville State basketball, we did it early in the season. We talked about them quite a bit because we'd fade Jacksonville State a lot, in all fairness. We talked about them a lot, and Jeron Pierre, he would have big scoring nights, but he would just take so many shots. Hell, you look at the Middle Tennessee game where he shot 24 shots, took 16 three-pointers in that basketball game. But he'd also have games where, the first Middle Tennessee game, where he put up 22 shots. He was 8 for 22 from the field, 3 for 10 from 3, but he scores 22 points. So again, like on paper, it doesn't look horrible, But he would have those games early in the season where he'd take a million shots. And again, it wasn't the most impressive stat line, but he's been much more efficient recently. You look at his last game, he shoots 50% from the field, 28 points in that game, 3 for 8 from the three-point line. Against the Middle Tennessee game that we talked about, played every single minute of that game, goes 13 for 24 from the field, 10 for 16 from three-point land, and scores 36 points. He's been a much more consistent guard for this team. And he is the reason for all of their success, if we're being honest. They've got some other guys too, but Jaron Pierre is the guy here for the Jacksonville State Gamecocks here in Alabama. He just is. He's the guy, right? Jamar Franklin's solid. He's a guy who averages 10 points a night for Jacksonville State. However, he's been out since the first game of the calendar year against Kennesaw State. So they've been out without Jamar Franklin. Again, only needing for more Jaron Pierre in this, or with this lineup, obviously. And again, you're not going to see Jaron Pierre come off the court. If you do, it's going to be for a minute, potentially at the end of the game if they have it locked up, right? Jaron Pierre, he's the reason this team's in first place. So that's why this, if there was ever a trap today, this is it. If it is a trap, we are biting. I don't care. If Vegas gets us, they get it. They get us. I don't know how Sam Houston beats this team. Sam Houston is 1-10 in the CUSA. They're in last place. Jacksonville State is 9-2. And they are first place in the CUSA. If Jacksonville State loses, they are officially on the banned forever list because I'm taking them off the ban list just to play them in this game. I don't get it. They are underdogs. I don't care they're on the road. You are the... I don't get it. It just does not make sense to me. Is Jaron Pierre hurt? That's the only thing I can think about. I did not see anything about Jaron Pierre being injured. No, he's not injured. So I don't understand, because that's the only thing to me that would make sense about why Jacksonville State would be dogs in this game. Because if Jaron Pierre doesn't play, it's not going to be great. But no, Jaron Pierre is healthy. What are we doing here? I really don't understand. Jaron Pierre, guys, is going to win the Player of the Year in the CUSA this season. I'd be surprised if he didn't. Right? It's just, Sam Houston is 1-10. Their last victory came against FIU at home, but they are currently, again, on a huge losing streak, losing to Kennesaw, Jacksonville State, Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky, La Tech, Florida International, and Liberty. They've been playing close games. They've played close games all year long in the CUSA. Okay, we don't need Jacksonville State to cover anything. We're taking the money line. If anything, they're dogs in this game. Sam Houston, again, they play everybody close, right? You look at all their point totals, right? Since their win against FIU, right? A 6-point loss in overtime at Kennesaw. An 8-point loss on the road in Jacksonville, Alabama against Jacksonville State. A 2-point loss against Middle Tennessee at home. A 9-point loss at home to WKU. An overtime loss at La Tech by 5. An overtime loss at FIU by 3. A loss on the road at the Liberty Flames by 3. Doesn't matter. We just need Jacksonville State to win the basketball game. And I feel very confident about this team winning. Jaron Pierre is the reason this team wins. And the first place team in the CUSA, I don't care how hard it is to go on the road and win in the CUSA. The first place team in the conference is not going to the last place team and losing. Again, it does kind of feel like Liberty is probably still the favorites to win it. But still, Jacksonville State is going to go on the road and beat Sam Houston. There might be a trap here. If it is, we're biting. Give me the Jacksonville State Gamecocks on the road to beat Sam Houston. We go to our final game of the night and we go to the Summit League. We have the Kansas City Roos going on the road to South Dakota to take on the South Dakota Coyotes. Give me South Dakota here. Another one of these games where I'm just a little confused at the odds. Kansas City has not been that good this season. They started Summit League play kind of hot. They won back-to-back games, beating South Dakota in their first matchup, but obviously in Kansas City. And again, South Dakota is a much different team than they were in that initial game. They beat Oral Roberts, does the Roos, and they go on a huge losing streak, losing 8 in a row. They just came off their first one in a while. They beat UND at home by 11 points. This team hasn't won on the road all year in the Summit League. They haven't. Now, this team, I think it was weird because, okay, this has been weird for Kansas City. This team I thought was actually going to be really good going into the Summit League play. I kid you not. I thought they were going to be really good. Again, I still think South Dakota wins the Summit, if I'm being completely honest with you. For as much as I have been hyping up Omaha this year, South Dakota State, I'm not going to play this, obviously, because I think South Dakota State is really good in Brookings, and they're really tough to beat over there. South Dakota State is a 9.5-point favorite at home against Omaha in this game today. They're playing at the same time as this one. Again, this is the better value game here for the Summit League. We're just talking about the Summit as a whole. South Dakota State, again, third-place team in the conference. They are a 9.5-point favorite to beat Omaha. Interesting, right? They went to Omaha and lost earlier this year by 7 points, right? Again, we expect South Dakota State to still likely win the Summit. I think regardless of where they're at, they're probably going to be the 3 seed in the Summit League, but I think they're better than both St. Thomas, Minnesota, and Omaha. Omaha is good, but I think once you get to that tournament in Sioux Falls, the Jacks have been there so many times, and they've won that tournament so many times. So again, I think they're probably going to excel in that spot with the Jackrabbits. But when you look at this game, again, South Dakota, I don't understand why the odds are so close. The Coyotes, they haven't been blowing anyone's socks off. They've been good. Hold on. But real quick, though, we'll talk about Kansas City. I messed up my own point here. I thought this team was going to be pretty good coming into Summit League play. Because they go to Wichita and win. I get the Shockers haven't been great, but they go to Wichita and win. They beat Bowling Green at home. They go to Portland and win. I get, again, Portland's not the best team, but you go away to the Pacific Northwest and beat that basketball team by 5. Then you beat Bowling Green, and you go back on the road to Wichita and beat them, your in-state rivals, kind of, right? Like, I was really impressed about Kansas City. They win their first 2 games. I'm thinking, wow, all right. The Roos might be solid this year, and they haven't really done anything since. They've, again, like we just talked about with Sam Houston, they've played close games. They played South Dakota State at home, lost the game by 1 point. They played St. Thomas, Minnesota. They lose to the Tommies by 3 points. They lose to Denver the very next game by 1 point, right? They lose to Oral Roberts on the road by 6 points. North Dakota State by 6 points. They play very competitive basketball games. But again, they play much better at home than they do on the road. They're not that great of a road team. Again, they haven't won on the road since that Wichita game that we talked about on December 17th, right? South Dakota, right? The Coyotes. Okay. They're not the best squad, but they have won 3 in a row. They are the only team right now to beat Omaha in the Summit League. Omaha's 10-1. That one loss comes on the road at South Dakota against the Coyotes. The Coyotes beat them by 4 points. Then after that, they went to Denver and won, and they just came off a victory on the road against Oral Roberts. Their last loss comes on the road against their in-state rivals in the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. The Jacks beat them by 19 points. Again, kind of signifying how good SDSU can be when they're on. Again, I love Oscar Clough. I think he's a great player. I still think the Jackrabbits are going not bowling, God, it's not college football. I think they're going dancing in the NCAA tournament, obviously. The Coyotes are led by Chase Forte. Forte's the best guy on the squad. He averages 16 and 4, but you got a lot of scorers in this team. Forte averages 16. Isaac Bruin, averages 14 and a half. Dre Bullock averages 11. Caleb Stewart averages 11, and Paul Bruins, the brother of Isaac, averages 9. I'm pretty sure they're brothers. They have to be. If not, I'd be very confused. Regardless, their big is Cameron Fens. Fens is all right. When he's on the court, he does kind of miss some games, but I mean, he averages 8.5 points and 5 boards a game. He's been out since the Oral Roberts game, though, so they've just been kind of playing small ball at the same time. Playing, I believe, their 4 Ashton Smith at center. Smith is 6'9", but he's kind of been playing that big role for this team, and he's been okay at it. Again, they've been not the same team without Fens, but they've been fine. They've been winning. They've won 3 in a row. I don't get these odds. Kansas City has not been good this year. They're going on the road to South Dakota. I think the Coyotes kind of just take care of them. The Coyotes are 2.5 point favorites. The line started at 1.5. It moved to 2.5. Again, we're still playing the Coyotes here at home. I like this spot. Again, I don't think they're the best team in the Summit, but right now, hey, South Dakota has moved up to 4th in the Summit League with it being Omaha, St. Thomas, Minnesota, South Dakota State, and then South Dakota. So hell, the Coyotes have now jumped North Dakota State in the Summit League. But again, there are 2 very distinct tiers in the Summit right now. Omaha, St. Thomas, South Dakota State, South Dakota, and North Dakota State, and then the bottom 4. It's night and day. Kansas City, North Dakota, Oral Roberts, Denver. The best out that bunch, I think, are North Dakota. And then after that, I mean, I guess Kansas City's slightly better than Oral Roberts and Denver, but my goodness, the bottom of the Summit League is not that great. The upper 5, I like those 5 squads. The rest of the conference, man, I'm not too fond of. Give me the South Dakota Coyotes to close the night. This is our nightcap at 5 o'clock. We'll be done, but if you want more betting games for later in the night, we've got you covered for NBA. Come back in a couple hours for that. But the final college game we're betting on today, give me the South Dakota Coyotes at home to win and cover the spread of 2.5 here against the Kansas City Roos. So folks, thank y'all for watching our 5 best bets for college basketball here on Thursday, February 13th. If you have not yet though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for more college basketball best bets here on the channel. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.